Thank you.
You're welcome. Welcome. We'll move on to item 8, which is Mr. West.
Okay, we've talked about the change of bond trustee. We don't need to address that anymore. I will talk a little bit about the budget process. I've completed our internal budget workbook, getting that developed for this year. The staff all have their budget, the sheets that they're responsible for. They've received those and are starting to work on those. A couple of weeks ago, I received the new budget forms from the state of Nevada. This is something that has to be done each year. I have to take our budget form that's been developed and connect that to the state, because they've got their own format of how they want stuff, and they want me to use their form every year. So they send me a new one every year, and I have to relink that and connect everything. I've got my workbook has 50 to 60 tabs on it, and connecting all of that to the state's 7 or 8 pages and blending that all together is not a simple process. It's pretty complex. That's in process, we've met with the staff, and we're kind of online with the schedule that we're planning on. The schedule as far as meeting with the board for our work sessions. You approved that a while back, and that schedule will continue as outlined. Looking forward to that, and this will be a good opportunity for Kevin to dive in head first this first go around as far as the budget's concerned. And he has committed and told all the supervisors he's going to work with each of them on their individual pages. So he's basically, every page that's prepared, he's going to be actively involved in working with to understand how it was developed and how we got there. So he's not going to be coming into it blind. He'll be very involved in that process, which I think will be a good thing. Let's see, the other thing, we did talk about, we're looking at some possible funding, state revolving fund. There's a possibility of getting our name on the list for the possibility of getting some subsidized loans if we needed it. Not that we need to accept it, but that's an option. I've also just today had communication, one of our bonds. It's a possibility of refunding. We've done that in the past. We refunded the 2001 with the 2011 and so forth. We might be able to do a bond refunding and save the district some interest, get a different interest rate. As you know, we had an upgrade in terms of the outlook for our credit rating, if you will, and that's good. There's also a possibility of refunding. In the process of refunding, we could recover some reserve funds. In other words, money that had to be set aside to cover, by the nature of the revenue bond, we refunded and turned it into just a general obligation bond. Some of that reserve money becomes available to us. We could use that to pay off some of the principal. That would also save us some interest. So we're looking at some things along those lines. And
We refund some of the subsidized loans?
it would be a different program. That we wouldn't be able to get that done, but hopefully by the meeting in the 18th of February, we'll look at it and come to you with the recommendation. If it's something we feel like we need to do, we'll have that all put together by the next meeting that we have. And you're receiving the revenue charts that I've been giving the general manager. Do you have any questions about any of those? I developed that, worked through it, and it all makes sense to me, but you never know about anybody else. So if you have questions...
Makes a smiley face.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it?
Pretty.
Going up.
So if you have questions as you receive those on a monthly basis, if you have any questions about those, let me know. It's interesting to watch the trends, and it's something that I use to help as we prepare for the budget as far as revenues are concerned. The thing that I will tell you is that the trend line is that revenue, as we talked about when we began this budget for this year, that I'm not seeing that revenue is going to be as good as we hoped. It's still slightly trending less because of conservation and other things. So
And growth
anyway,
Good and bad, man.
yeah. Anyway, that's all I've got. Do you have any questions for me?
Thanks, Russ.
No, thanks, Wes. Mr. Bunker.
I have an update on some of the, we talked about the boosters and some of the other issues that we're having is with well 2, well 31. Still finishing up things with Bowens and Collins on that bid process. But I did hear back from Elaine Christensen on the rebuild work for the pump at well 2. They needed parts, and those parts, they're having a hard time finding them. They were saying it was going to be until March 26th, was the earliest they could get them to us, which he said would be better than that. And they're trying to find some, was it
Denmark.
Denmark? Trying to hunt some down in Denmark and get them delivered, so that rebuild can occur sooner.
Need somebody go pick those up?
Volunteers?
You know, luckily everything is looking good with well 31, and that is the one that has to be done first, and that's our highest priority, at least with the wells. And, let's see. Wes talked about the state revolving fund, working along with him on that and filling out the application process just as a priority list. Again, it doesn't mean we have to go forward with that. And also been working on the water rights master plan. Congealing more information together to put that together. It's a process. Let's see. Also, we met with the Bunkerville Secondary System Committee. That's what they call themselves. And we met with them on the 17th, and that meeting went quite well. We discussed a lot of the issues pertaining to the Bunkerville Secondary System and any ways to mitigate that. It sounds like they would like the Water District and possibly that committee to present again at a Bunkerville Town Board. And I think that's supposed to be sometime at the end of January is the next Bunkerville Town Board.
January 30th.
January 30th?
30th.
Okay. So that's, I think, what we're working towards.
You're gonna post that?
Yes. Yeah, we met, Kevin might talk about this as well, we met with some of the water purveyors in the region again, down at Moffett Valley Water District facilities, and that was time well spent. Wade was there as well, Cleveland County Water District, and sharing of ideas and way to improve what has worked for their districts and of infrastructure or anything for that matter. And it's always a worthy time or a worthwhile time when we do that. That's probably our report for now. Anything else? Or any questions that the board has or anything?
Okay, I don't see any. Thank you, Aaron.
Thank you.
Mr. Brown?
I think I've talked enough about item 1, so I'm not going to discuss that anymore. It has to do with the booster pump, so. Upcoming projects, the only one I wanted to report on there was the asphalt patching. They will start, the new contractor that we've got on board, J&J Enterprises, starts on Monday. It's coming in, I think we've got 8 patches for him to do, so that'll start up. Aaron talked about most of the other things that we've got going on. Number 4, I'm working on the request for qualifications for engineering services for the pool that I talked about at the last board meeting. I'm hoping to have the request for qualifications going out January 30th. So we'll have about a month of advertising period on that, and then we'll get those in and evaluate them, and then probably in one of the March board meetings bring our recommendations to the board on which firms we retain and utilize in the future. And that's all. Just want to thank the board and the public for keeping me on at least till the next board meeting. And it's been a great 6 months, and I keep telling everybody well, my wife, she took off, but I told her about 3 months ago that I was getting ready to go to work. I said, oh man, it was great. I get to go to fun today. So every day is a wonderful day here.
Well, thank you. I was walking up Mesa, where they left, let's see, the north side of that street. I know we're gonna have to replace that pipeline at some time, aren't we? But I just, first time I ever noticed it, looks like it's deteriorating, you know.
Yeah, Mesa, we originally were gonna do Mesa this year, but Kitty Hawk took a priority over that, and we'll move Mesa into next year and work on that one.
But there isn't any added. I just noticed it, but apparently it's been that way for a while.
Yeah, it's not as in an emergency shape as the booster pumps and the wells and
Okay.
Kitty Hawk and.
So what you mean by that, is water's not shooting out of it?
It's staying in the ground.
Yeah, okay, good. All right, thank you.